Good morning, everybody. Good morning. So it looks like we're
Good
going to
morning,
go
all.
live tonight too for the Triumvirate,
That's right.
7:30 Eastern
And
PM.
we might even have a special, yes, I'm going to have a special guest tonight, hiding out.
Oh yes.
Will be joining us, I believe.
Yeah, well, she'll be talking about the
And
deep
she's got,
seek narrative because she's well versed in tech.
yes, she is. She's got her own tech company, so it's great. Let's see. What am I going to do? My good buddy Alberto F. Newman put out an options collar strategy that you can put into place to protect your Tesla shares if you want. It's on my profile. I'm going to pull it up here in a second and stick it on our screen. But Matt's going to go ahead and do his thing with the indices review.
Yeah, so yesterday it was a big gap down from a day-to-day basis of the SPY. And the gap down was right to support. And you can see the daily support down here with the 50-day moving average, the conversion line baseline. And you can also see that it's starting to get back above the daily cloud as well. So that is going to be maybe your support again, 596 area. And it's still just in a range, right? Between the previous all-time highs up here and the support down here. So this is no damage done to the chart at all, still holding support nicely. And with the QQQ, it got underneath a lot of support, so it's the opposite, right? It didn't hold the 50-day moving average as support, but it did go back down to find some support with the bottom of the daily Ichimoku cloud. We've seen it before back on January 13th, and it did it again to find a new higher low from here. So that's going to be your support for today again, the 509. If it needs to go back down, it could, but it's going to be posing some challenges pretty soon with the resistance above with the 50-day conversion baseline, and that's all basically in the 517, 518 range. So it has some room to go higher, but I don't know if it's ready to break free of this resistance today. So it's maybe a little bit of a more cautious the closer it gets to the 517s in that zone. And the IWM, we're going to see that it is below the 786 again. Oh no. So this is looking like still a zone, right? And it did go back down to the 100-day moving average again to retest that support. But this is still just in a range too. If you just look at the green 50-day and the blue 100-day, it's basically right in the middle, and it's just ping-ponging back and forth between them. So day over day, not much to focus on, but weekly candles, I still would like to close above this 226.74. And since we looked at the SMH yesterday, let's look at it today. And we can see that the daily chart is still below all averages, so it still has some room to make up. But what we can see is back here on November 27th, it did wick down to 234. And yesterday it wicked down to 232, but it closed above this 234, so it's not even a lower low, right? It's not a lower low. Even with that huge scare, it's not a lower low than back on November 27th. So this still has a great chance to recover. And on the weekly chart, the reason why is it just went back down to the baseline. So if you look in the past 2-3 months, you can see that it's just been holding that baseline as support for a long time. And yesterday was no different. So this is still in the same, really the same range over the past 3 months or more, right? 4 months even. So yeah, the goal is to,
This chart right here, sorry, this view right here just shows you just before it's about to go much higher, it does one last liquidity grab way low to do like one last desperate grab of shares before then it goes back up and starts testing new resistances higher. So you can see it like right there, that big gap that's going to fill back up. That's all we're doing.
yeah, and I still think there is a good
Mhm.
possibility of even closing this weekly candle back above the cloud on Friday, above the 50-week moving average too. So I can see this being just yeah, like what Tracker said, liquidity down here. So they went to grab it and close back above, and then maybe try to build a base on top of the cloud and go higher. So far, it looks scary because it was down 10% yesterday. But in reality, it's just in the same range as the past months. That's what it's been in. So, with that said, Tracker, you have a chart or something to show?
Oh yeah. So here's my Tesla chart. But what I've done is I've grabbed this options strategy. It's a collar play from my options expert Alberto F. Newman, and you can find this post on. I've reposted this this morning, and he just says, for every 1,000 shares owned, you could sell 7 of the February 14th $412.50 calls. This is only if you can do level 4 options and you've got the underlying shares. But you could sell 7 calls, buy 10 puts, and it overall the cost of the trade is 0. It'll cost you nothing when you sell one and buy the other one, and it provides you downside protection and gives you some upside, but though it caps it a bit. And the strategy says it'll let you capture 100% of your regular profit if the stock rises by 4%. And if Tesla climbs beyond 412.50, your gains will be like owning 300 shares instead of 1,000, but it maximizes protection while reducing risk. So there you go. If you want to see the exact thing, just go to my X post to see it here again. And as far as Tesla goes here on the weekly chart, it really is just, I need to actually go to the daily chart. Sorry. It's trading in this triangle here, right? And it might, in fact, it doesn't even show up on this one. I've got to go to my 8-hour chart, right? Because here's that wick that completes the bottom of this triangle. So it went 1, 2, 3, 4, and now it could break out and go higher now. So I'm looking for a surprise on earnings on the energy with the energy story, and for it to go higher. If I'm wrong, Tesla might just go sideways for a little bit longer. And then, once the options clear, then it can start going up again. But I'm still looking for $711 by July 18th. We're very close to it. I was like, a month off and $5 off with my last prediction. So we'll see if I do any better this time. So I'm bullish on Tesla. I'm just buying shares of TSLL, adding shares that position. I don't do options for this stuff because I don't like to gamble away all my money and then lose it in the options market. But shares you can just hold, and eventually you're right. You just need some time sometimes. Let's see. Catch
All right.
Penny says Tesla needs to test 372. Does it? Does it really need to test 372? They want to see it retest this lower low. You won't always get a double bottom, and since this was already like a kind of a tweezer bottom, it's probably not going to go exactly there again. That might have been all we got.
Yeah, I'll just show mine again, and my thoughts are the same as yesterday, and we can see that it's still holding the 50-day moving average just fine. So I can't really assume it's going to go down to those lower levels until that actually breaks. So we'll see in the next couple of days, but it is inside the cloud. It is not able to get out of the cloud just yet, but maybe that's when earnings, it'll decide the direction. Either it's going to break out of the cloud, go higher, or it's going to come back down to the low levels like Catch Penny was thinking, maybe 370s or lower. But in the meantime, it's holding support. So that is your support, 392.16. No change until one of these levels break.
Yeah. Yes, I'm so sorry about my audio. I will get a better microphone. It's on the way.
Can we possibly retest the 350, 360 ascending wedge? Yeah, because that is the bottom of the bottom of the cloud too, 350. So it is possible to go down there, guys, but support has to break first. So we have to take one step at a time.
I'm going to talk about ramen and sardines and onions. Ramen noodles and hose water.
And hose water. That sounds delightful.
Let's see. Well, XRP did something, right? Can we see XRP?
Yeah, XRP is doing well. Yeah, let's just take a look at Bitcoin real quick, and then we'll do XRP. So XRP or Bitcoin, the level I'm really watching is still this 103, 611. Needs to close a week above it. It tried to on Sunday, but in like the last hour, did not. So it's still in a range, right? 99,260 is your support. 103,611 is your resistance. So no change for support and resistance for Bitcoin, and yeah, XRP. What is it doing right now? Is it doing stuff? Yeah, 315. So it's getting back above this 3099 that I talked about before, because it has been spending more time on top. But every weekly candle close so far since January 19th, it decided to just go below it. And then the next days it goes back above. And it's really no difference this time either. It went below it on Sunday and now it's coming back above. So it doesn't want to do a weekly candle close above it yet. But maybe this Sunday could be the day to close above this 3099. We'll find out. But that's my focus for XRP.
Woohoo! Hey, do you want? I have a morbid curiosity with the Trump coin. Do you have a shareable chart for Trump?
Kinda. I did post a chart for Trump here, and it's holding the 45-degree angle. So this is a 4-hour chart. Like, it doesn't have much data on it, but this is basically what I can see. If it holds like the $28 level now, I think it can continue higher. It's just looks like it's in a wedge right here, right? And maybe we'll try to break this all-important $35 level. So we'll see. We'll see if Trump really can get out of there.
It really needs to prove itself. Otherwise, it's just a crazy meme coin.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
It can sort of provide some fiat bona fides. Let's see, best stock to buy today.
I can show you NVIDIA real quick, just because I saw that request at the bottom. And what I'm focusing on NVIDIA right now is the baseline and the green level of the GAN. Now it had a perfect back test of the 50-week moving average yesterday. And you guys realize that was the first time since January 2023, since it broke out. First back test of it. So I think that's a bullish development right there. And my focus for NVIDIA is, just continue closing candles above this 121.91. Let's just round up 122, right? It's above it pre-market. Let's try to stay above it. And if it does, then it's just still in the same range that it has been really since it kind of broke out, right? Your weekly support has always been kind of down here at the 120s, and the resistance always up here at the 152s. So this is just in the normal range once again, and as long as it stays there, it probably will just continue to build a base.
Yeah, I would say, for stocks today, NVIDIA and NVDL, AMD, all of these look pretty good. You could probably, like yesterday, if you bought them, that was a really good place to buy them. Like towards the end of the day, you could buy them today. There's a chance that they'll make a false start up higher, and then fall over again, but still make a higher low. So it's up to you. Like if you just want to trade for a little bit, you could grab some chips and look to make a profit on them. As soon as you get really pretty green on them, maybe sell off half and just see if it doesn't fail again a little bit, and then come back into it again. Oh yeah, here's my chart up here. So here's a NVDL, and it's come back to almost test my moving average 75 on the weekly chart, and it's below both the baseline and the conversion line. Conversion line looks like
that's not current price. Current price, it's over 50. It's like 51 something.
Oh, right. Sorry. Here we go. 51. Yeah, it's making the little J hook. So, two scenarios. Either it's that was the low, and you can see a V-shaped recovery. It starts to make a profit and then falls over again, which actually I've got kind of predicted here. So 102 and then back to 78. Or the bear case scenario is it's a B wave bounce, and it still has a little bit lower in store for us. I don't know. It doesn't have to. So here would be the B wave bounce scenario, and so you could still catch it down here, or catch it right here, and look for it to at least test. Looks like $72. I do a little Mattsbyism here. I'll just do it this way. About $79. To get over $79, then it makes a new higher high. Otherwise, Yeah, watch $72. Let's say you could buy down here. Watch for $72. If it gets over it and tests it back as support and keeps going higher, then you know it's actually this was the bottom. But if it gets rejected, then look for the C wave down after that. That's what I would say for all the chips in general from right here. Apple.
Very good. Yeah, I see Mara CLSK. So let me go jump on CLSK for you. And there's no change with CLSK. As I mentioned before on the show, every time it gets back down to this 45-degree angle and even the 100-week moving average, it is an opportunity. And yesterday was no different at all, too. But when there's that much fear, nobody really wants to buy, even though it's still support, and support is holding very nicely. And even the 100 has crossed above the 200 week moving average as well. And things are normal, right? So that is your support zone down there in the 9s, and your resistance is still up here in the 12s and 13s. So just in a range, looking for direction, but it looks like it's building a base on top of this 45-degree angle. And with Mara here, we can see that it also is looking like it's trying to get back above the resistance of the 200 and the 50-week, but it cannot. So does it need to come back down to the 100-week again and touch it? I mean, it could, but in the meantime, it's just in a range, right? There's really nothing scary about Mara either. It just got rejected up here, came back down to retest and revisit support, and now it's just in a range looking for direction. And I think it can stay in that range, maybe for some weeks until maybe like March or April, until it's really ready to go higher. So we'll see.
My personal strategy, I decided to pull up stakes with all the miners and just mostly go into MicroStrategy or in MSTX. But I did hold on to my Mara because the Mara on my chart looks like it still could outperform even MSTX when it finally does kick in to high gear. So I got nothing but MicroStrategy, MSTX, and I still have my Mara shares. Someone requested Apple, so I went ahead and brought it up here. I just wanted to point out that since I guess you could say since 2020, since right here, the pandemic low, March 23rd, Apple has been in a pretty predictable channel, as you can see. And what's going on is no different. There's no really big break out of the channel. It simply went to the top. So I believe Danny Cheng is waiting for a daily red candle to come back on Apple. So he's not recommending it right now. I don't know. It could, it tested this center line here. I've got this little center dashed line, and that's where it kind of hit a low, even with the aftermarket hours price action here. So, maybe see how I did a matte 100% top here and a 0% bottom here for the August 5th carry trade. So, look for it to try to reject the 78.6 at $246.57 the first time. Maybe send it back down a little bit. I don't know if it'll go to 50% or 61.8%, but then look for it to get back over it, test back to it, and then it can go higher. So, I like Apple in the long term. It's just not a really fast stock for me right now. What is this? From where we are right now, if it got up to there, then it's like 21% in 266 days. It's just not a really fast mover right now. So yeah, there's Apple. It's okay. It's not great. Like I don't have an Apple. I'm not even trading Apple right now. MicroStrategy is very flat. Oops. And I know people are interested in MicroStrategy and Coin and MST. And let's see. So this is you've already seen my chart. I think just really briefly. I see that all-time high we hit at 543 as actually a giant wave 1, and then the low we hit after that, 285.01, is a giant wave 2. And so using Fibonacci extensions from the beginning of MicroStrategy's all the way back down to 13 or so. My wave 1, my next target is up here at $616. So I see a really bullish run for MicroStrategy. We just need to see Bitcoin start to make its move again, and it's been building a base and building a base. It's probably still going to build a base for a while. Even MicroStrategy itself. Let's see here on the 8-hour chart. Yeah, it's in this cloud, and so it can bounce around. It looks like the Ichimoku might want to get out by February 10th. We'll see. Just give it some time. But even right now, it's still not a bad place to keep adding, in my opinion. Not financial advice. Oops.
Okay, let's see here. Oh, I see a VST. Let's see. Let me go to VST here on my chart. Yeah, Vistra Corp. All right, so VST, we can see what did really happen here with VST. So let me just take off these right here. So what ultimately happened with VST is it came up and got rejected, and we can see that it went back down to the baseline here. So what I am paying attention to for support is this baseline and this 2.618, the 121.10 down here. So basically, this has potential to hold in this zone, but it is still kind of extended from the 50 and the cloud, so it could just take some time to break out, right? So not really sure if it's really ready to go back above this conversion line just yet. So what does that mean? It just means it's kind of range bound between the 130s and the 160s up here. So it could just be bouncing around there before it really wants to choose a direction, either breakout or go lower to retest levels below. So nothing really to update until one of those levels breaks.
Let me show my VST chart real quick because I did this one before, and I still have my annotation on the chart from when I talked about this before it dropped. I said, it could test back to this 382 low zone here, and actually it went all the way down, just crashed right through it. It still made a higher low though, so it's still bullish overall. It just tested back deeper than I would have expected. 764, almost 382, right to the 1382. But then instead of holding support at the 100%, it went back to the 764. So I almost want to say that maybe I misread this chart, and this is probably a wave 5 top, and I should probably rechart this. If this is a wave 5 top, that is probably my wave 2 bottom, in which case I should do retracement from this top. Oops. Retracement tool. This top down to this bottom right here, and then look for an ABC retrace. 382. Oh, it developed more than 382. It went to 50%. Maybe 382. Maybe 786. Ooh. I don't think Vistra is done. Look for a B wave bounce. If it can get over 154.82, then great. Maybe it will recover. If it fails to get above 154.82, look for the C wave lower to 102.96. That's my TA for Vista or VST right now. I see we should talk about, we're going to do AMD tonight exhaustively. I want to show NNE real quick because this was one of my favorites, and I called the top and I sold. I sold up right up here around this 46 zone and said it's going to drop back to 30-ish. I wasn't sure how far it would come down. You can see on this 8-hour chart, it simply wicked through the Ichimoku baseline, and now we're back above it. So that could be all of it, or again, this could be the A wave, and then we're going to get a B bounce. So, you know what, let me just do the same thing. A retracement back to this level here, and then, let's see, it got back to the 50% level, wicked through the 50% level. So if it can't get over 3703, it might C wave back down to 25. I'm sorry, these fibs are alongside. You make it so you guys can read them. And then pull them out. 4805. There, all right, and I can sort of see the fibs better. So it basically wicked down to below this 55% level. So look for resistance at this 38.2 at 37.03. If it can get above it, great. Then it can retest and keep going and recover. If not, then it could go down to 25.38. There's my NNETA. If it does do this, if this was the wave 5 top and this is your C bottom, that forms a larger degree 1, 2, and it can build a bigger chart, a bigger, better chart. Like you would definitely want to add probably shares of NNE down here in this 25 range, if that happens. All right, back to you, Matt.
All right. Let's see what else is going on. Oh, I see Wulf and EOS. I'll do a Wulf. I have it up right now. So yeah, Wulf, I did some buying yesterday down here in the 520s or a little bit, yeah, around 520 exactly, actually. And it did go down to the GAN level there, the orange, the top of the cloud and the 50-week, and it bounced and it held. So that is your support zone right here. I think this has a lot of confluence of holding support. So I think that's what it was just waiting for the whole time. It went up to the arcs up here, got rejected, came back down, and retested support. So now I think it can maybe try to build a base on top of this zone here and go higher. Is it really ready to explode back up? Probably not. I think it'll just stay in this range for some time. But this is a very wide range, right, from the 420s up to the $6 range. So it can go just stay in between there for the time being until it really gets ready to break free. So I do like support down here in this zone. I like it. And let me just do EOS 2 and EOS. I like it, but it's still stuck under the 630s up here. So I got to be a little bit cautious and just wait for it to see if it wants to break. And if it wants to break, then I think it can be good. But otherwise, it might need to retest levels in the 5s or even a little bit lower too. So break the arc, it's good to go. If not, it's just going to stay in this range until one level breaks.
Yep, I've got a little detail on EOS on my screen. Same thing. We had that retracement. So if this was this was a top right here, and then it came down to. Oh no, I did the extension the other way. Hang on. This was the top. This was the bottom, and it retraced down to this 55% level again. And on the way back up, it made it over that 38.2% and did make a new higher high. So if I flip that, verse, it got to, oops, Matt's lovely, come here, this label's in the way. Hang on, I'll just pull this out. So it did get right to Matt's 141.4% extension, came back to the 8-hour baseline, and I think it's ready to keep testing higher. If it just can get back to 601 and flip it over 601, flip it to support, they can go higher. I've got this this setup going for 731 next to 647 to 888. So 888 is my next, that would be my take profits target, and look for a retrace after that, and then look for a chance to buy back in again near 525. That's where my EOS chart is. A new high is my wave 5 top. Look for retracement, and then it can build a new chart. I'll go to $20 after coming down to $5, and that's me.
Yeah, very good. Okay, I see one for Tiger and AMD. Well, AMD, it's the 200-week moving average is 1529, so I think that's the only level you got to watch, guys. But let's do Tiger. All right, so Tiger, we can see here I held the 200-week moving average as support, and that was for 2 weeks in a row, and now it's kind of just stuck in a range between that support down here in the 630s and also the conversion line right there at 706. So this is your support resistance zone, and I think it looks like it kind of wants to go higher. So I think this 706 conversion line can get broken sooner or later and go up towards the 884 and the baseline 892 zone. So Tiger is looking like it's in a bottoming process.
Yeah, Cat liked this one. He convinced me to buy it just because he liked the way it was going sideways for so long.
Yeah. I mean, it was a really nice breakout, and it looks like a really nice back test going on so far. So I think maybe a little bit more time, get closer to the cloud, and then it goes.
Yep.
All right. What else we got? Oh, Alab, I see. I know that was being talked about a lot. Astera, and what happened? Well, if people were watching on my Patreon, they noticed that it was the 1.414 rejection, and that rejection was pretty big right here, guys. The big bearish engulfing candle right there that could not, it opened above and closed way below it. So that was your first clue that maybe things don't want to break this resistance, and maybe your first clue to take some profits if you rode it all the way up. And we can see now it's going back down below a lot of resistance. Below a lot of support, now becoming resistance, and it even has potential to go back down to the 786 at the 7742. So I am cautious on it. I was cautious on it up here as well. So let's see if price can hold this $77.
Let's see. I see this request for Redfin. Redfin looks pretty good as well. Um, Redfin also had a bottom process, a breakout to a new higher high. You can see it's pretty much just in a big triangle formation from here to there, to there, to there. So it's got a resistance trend and a support trend, and it's had a chance, right? It has a really good chance here to break the support trend if it wanted to. It's not doing it. It didn't do it. I think it's ready to break the resistance trend next. So I think Redfin's in a great place to accumulate some or add some more if you've got it. Overall, it's at a big retracement, right? Or that would be, if it's going to be bullish, it's going to want to retrace back to its previous all-time high and break that. And so the typical way it would do that would be a 61.8% retrace, and that seems to line up with the kind of price action it had here before it lost its support. So look for 39.65 next, back to 25.77, up to 62.11. The bankers in Wales were active right into October, September. There's still a lot of institutional activity, but they're more like trading it than accumulating it themselves, or they're not doing a big buying push on Redfin. Just a note, I would say 2025, maybe the last gasps for the bullish part of the housing market, and look for housing prices to start to fall in 2026 and maybe really fall in 2027. So I wouldn't consider Redfin a long term hold. If you can get this kind of price action this year, once you get up here, get out and do something else. Just my opinion.
All right. I see Microsoft. Let me just do Microsoft. Yeah, so MSoft, we can see that it went back down to retest the 50-week moving average again, and it's now back above all indicators of the chart. And the big thing I'm watching is this 1.414, the 428.96, and that's ultimately the goal, just to stay above for Microsoft. Because if it can just keep staying above that, then it's also going to stay above the cloud, and then that will just keep building a base and eventually go to the next target, the 474. Well, before that is the previous all-time highs up here in the 460s. So we'll see if we can break that first on its way to the 470s. But yeah, it's more and more bullish. Nice back test again. So we can see that price has a chance to hold this for 28.96.
Yeah, it's almost as if it was not quite ready to test that 1618, and so it ran away from it to see where we could find support first before it could go back and then test it again.
Yeah, that's exactly it. All right.
Let's see. I've got Joby Aviation, Joby. I've done a chart for this previously. Here's my weekly JOBY chart. From this all-time low to this really nice rise up to 1198, and then back down to this higher low. I've got these fib extensions for the 764, 382, 1382, 100%, 2382 for, so I'm looking for 1125 is where it should go for resistance next, and then test back to 787. Here, I'll make these a little bit bigger for you. I'm sorry, they're a bit small. Here, I'll make them a little bigger than I usually make them. You take a screenshot of that, and then just all you have to do is look at the wave target and then see the price on the right-hand side. There's my Joby Aviation chart for you guys. And you can see there is a lot of institutional participation in the MCDX Plus down here. All these big, long, tall red bars are good. That's bullish. Anytime this is over 50% in the red and under 10% in the green, that's bullish. If it's over 75% in the red and like no green, that's super bullish. It's not super bullish, but it's bullish. All right, what else do you want to do, Matt? I see it's 9:06.
Yeah, go ahead and do one more, I guess, and then I'll have to run away until tonight.
Oh man, what should I do? Let me look at my charts here. Let's look at LES, only because this was one I said let's buy into this. I like the volatility. I was attracted to the volatility. What is going on with this thing? After making 100% twice, it's held at the 50% retracement from this bottom to the top up here at 525. I like it so far. It still hasn't broken anywhere lower. So if you haven't done any LES, or if you are in LES, you could either DCA or add here. Let's just get rid of this thing. My next higher target is going to be 662 at least. It could continue on, but I think based on previous action, I'm looking for the 382, the 236, then the 1236, because the whole thing must be in a retracement, right? Yes, the whole thing's in a retracement pattern. So that's why I'm looking for that particular flavor. 382, 236, 123.6 for 1575, back to about just under $11, and tops out at 23.44. So yeah, it's just stuck under the conversion line on the 4-hour chart. But if we can just get back on top of this, it's got a lot of resistance above, as Matt would tell you, but it had a chance to go lower and it didn't go lower. It's certainly not going to zero. It looks like it's building a base over this. 662 is my next major target, and then let's see if we can get past that or not. In fact, yeah, I've already got my alert right there. There you go, LAES SEALSQ.
All right. With that said,
and we'll be back tonight.
We'll be back tonight. Yeah. And somebody asked, is IBIT worth buying, or do you just prefer coin? I mean, I prefer coin. I prefer regular crypto over IBIT personally. So I have enough exposure to crypto, so I don't need an ETF.
Yeah, it all comes down to like, what is your own personal exposure? You have to ask yourself, how much of my portfolio is in. I didn't used to be a diversification guy, but it actually helps because it always gives you some place to rotate from and rotate into, just like the markets do.
Yeah, with that said, we'll see you guys tonight, 7:30 Eastern Time.
Or the triumvirate.
Yes.
Plus
one. All right, guys.
Plus one.
See you tonight.
Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.